This is employee 73, 6F, 63, 72, 61, 74, 65, 73. Designation auditor, signing in. I am once again recording from workstation 6C, 69, 6D, 62, 6F. Today's date is November 5th, 1079 AB. I have good news. Work has been proceeding far quicker than anticipated. In my efforts to uncorrupt the black box, I was able to apply a simple algorithm to assist my endeavor. This algorithm, that I have tentatively named Hecate, is a machine-assisted learning algorithm. It essentially automates the tedious process of me manually trying my hand at assigning pointers to strings of unknown data. Of course, the algorithm requires my supervision, and more complex files demand my undivided attention. But this tool has significantly increased the speed of my workflow. So much so that I have uncovered 3 files, all of which were in the same file chain that I will analyze today. In other good news, my assistants have already begun to make their way through the...
Excuse me? Chief Auditor, sir? May I spare a moment of your time?
Speaking of my assistants, what is it you need? 48, 65, 73, 69, 6F, 64?
You can just call me...
This is an official company recording, therefore I will refer to you by your company title. Now, what is your request? Employee 48, 65, 73, 69, 6F, 64.
Okay, then, well, Mark...
Employee 47, 6C, 61, 75, 63, 6F, 6E, 20?
Yes. Employee 47, 6C, 61, 75, 63, 6F, 6E, 20? Well, employee... it's 47, 6C, 61, 75, 63, 6F, 6E, 20... and I were working through the files you assigned to us. It's been slow going, but we have largely made our way through the initial weeks of missions. Anyway, as per our standardization policy, employees 47, 6C, 62... I'm sorry, there has to be some better way of doing...
Better way of doing what?
Addressing my coworker.
Do you have an issue with standard company naming policy?
Apologies, Chief Auditor. It's just... Well, referring to as that string of numbers, it feels kind of dehumanizing. Like we don't matter, that we're just machines, I suppose?
I vehemently disagree. That string of numbers defines our identity. It shows us our purpose. It's what separates us from the millions of nameless machines that compromise our facility.
All the same, I'm not calling him that. A man should be referred to by his name.
Then his name will have to be censored in this log.
I don't mind extra work.
Do as you will. Now please, you've wasted enough of my time. Tell me your request. Quickly.
Of course. So and I were working through the files, creating an initial summary like you said, and per our standardization policy, assigned me to the task of double-checking our work.
I do hope you haven't come to complain about your workload, especially after you so boldly stated you can handle more work.
No, I have not come to complain. I understand that as an apprentice chronicler, I have the majority of grunt tasks delegated to me. No, I've come to express some reservations regarding the case. When I was reviewing the documents that had assigned to me, I noticed some inconsistencies.
Inconsistencies?
Yeah, inconsistencies. For instance, looking at the initial cargo manifest, it states the ship was given 3 spare oxygenators and 2 water recyclers. Furthermore, the ship's spare air reserves and food reserves were hilariously over quota. I mean, look here. Specifically, the ship was provided with 120 kilograms of nitrogen, 360 kilograms of oxygen, and around 3.65 million calories worth of food synthesis components. Now, I know we don't know what the ship was doing originally, but we do know that the mission was designated as a survey mission. Therefore, judging on prior mission parameters, we can safely guess that the Catabasis was going to be in space for around a year, maybe 2 at most. Why then would a ship traveling for such a small time be given the supplies to rebuild the ship's life support systems 3 times over, as well as 5 years worth of food and oxygen? Those numbers aren't even factoring in waste recycling, which, even assuming the most suboptimal conversions, would give 2 more years of food and oxygen?
So the inconsistency you noticed was that a ship carrying not just one, but 2 children of a board executive was oversupplied? Did you not consider that Mr. would use his significant influence to make sure that his children didn't suffocate or starve in the void of space?
I grant you that. But if we do accept the supposition, it brings up other problems. For instance, if Mr. did make sure that everything was functioning aboard the Catabasis and provided multiple new pieces of machinery for the ship, then why was Percival constantly working on repairs? Why are there hundreds of maintenance reports where Percival describes the ship's machinery as derelict and complains that spare parts were undersupplied?
I understand your concerns. When I was first reviewing the case, I had similar misgivings. However, what you have neglected to realize is that we are not dealing with a strictly rational actor. Percival, by his own admission in RF-001, is mentally unstable. We cannot trust that details within the maintenance report, such as the state of the ship, are completely true, or that the amount of maintenance performed is accurate.
You're not seriously suggesting that Percival fabricated hundreds of maintenance reports?
I'm not saying that. I believe that he consistently reported actual maintenance that he did aboard the ship. Rather, I am simply suggesting he exaggerated how decrepit it was.
But doesn't that throw the theory that work-related stress contributed to his mental decline into question? This consistent routine maintenance explanation is a far cry from Percival single-handedly keeping an iron coffin afloat, which we postulated in an earlier report is what led to his mental break.
That is true. Sustaining a derelict craft is harder than performing maintenance on a functioning one. However, I don't think this realization affects our theory.
Why not?
Regardless of how real, Percival still believes that he is facing an insurmountable task. We already know from his log that Percival is capable of presenting a false reality to himself and fully believing it to be real. Perhaps this is a further extension of Percival's delusions.
I don't buy it. This whole mission feels wrong. Like it was designed to just languish in space. I haven't even touched on the security system which was installed on the ship. Who needs Panopticon-level security on a simple survey mission? I don't know. It feels like it was far different from what it was initially billed as.
Well, it's all we have. Every other solution defies logic and wastes time. Our supervisors wanted a quick and clean audit. We do not have time to entertain fanciful notions and grand conspiracies. Now, do you have any more misgivings for me, employee 48, 63, 73, 69, 6F, 64, or may I go back to work?
No, Chief Auditor. May the spirit of reason guide your step.
And may logic shield you from harm. We will begin today's analysis by reviewing the first of the files that I was able to recover. It appears to be a video file. Therefore, following standard naming conventions, I have temporarily titled it RVF001. I will include a copy of this video in my official report. In the meantime, I will delineate between the video and my thoughts by utilizing a similar format to my analysis of written files. When I am utilizing the video, I will either state beginning playback or resuming playback. When I am providing commentary, I will clearly state auditor's note. As a further aid, I will also describe any nonverbal actions taken within this video in the auditor's note sections. I will begin playback now. Auditor's note. Apologies for the horrible noise. It appears the first few seconds of this file are still corrupted. I was not anticipating such a grating sound, but such is life. This file seems to be footage taken from the ship's onboard security system. As you know from SDK Rep 001, the Catabasis was equipped with our state-of-the-art Panopticon security system. Though every employee should have a familiarity with the system, I have found in my work that most do not understand its basic trappings. Therefore, a brief explanation is in order. Please forgive this indulgence if you are familiar with the system. The Panopticon system utilizes a vast array of technological surveillance devices such as cameras, keyloggers, and microphones to constantly monitor employees and search for anomalous activity. The system was designed with 2 goals in mind, that being complete safety for employees and employee self-regulation. The system provides for safety by being an all-encompassing system, with multiple fail-safes that, when triggered, ping security or trigger alarms. Of course, it's not impenetrable, no security system is, but the Panopticon platform has had a very strong track record of detecting and neutralizing security threats. As for self-regulation, the system provides employees with the feeling that they are always being monitored by their supervisor. Therefore, they tend to work harder in order to avoid demerits or worse yet, write-ups for poor behavior. The panopticon system is largely utilized in fields that require regular output from employees like the company's manufacturing or data entry wings, or high-security areas like the HODL wing that require near constant protection. As this file is a security recording, the date, time, temperature, atmospheric readout, and location of the recording is displayed in the bottom right corner of the screen. On the top left of the screen, we can see devices connected to the panopticon system within this room. From this, we are able to ascertain that the activity within this video takes place on the 2nd of July, 1078, at 0120 hours in the Catabasis Deep Storage Room. We're also able to ascertain that the Deep Storage Room had a suboptimal oxygen percentage of 16%, and its temperature was considerably lower than standard regulations, being a chilly 12 degrees Celsius instead of the standard 20 degrees C. The Deep Storage Room is rather small, appearing to house one large inbuilt workstation, measuring about 4 meters wide and 3 meters long. This workstation has a built-in engineering terminal and fabrication bed. We can identify this workstation as the self-same workstation 4E4958 from Percival's log due to its connection to the camera. It appears that the standard keylogging function that displays typed text on the workstation to the security feed is disabled. Resuming playback. God damn it. No. What do you mean by remember? Remember what? Why did you address me by that name? And who's Auditor's note. More audio corruption here. Very frustrating. That's besides the point, however, as we have our first real look at the chief engineer. Granted, this is not confirmed, but judging by the Omni-Welder on the subject of the video's hip and the orange engineering jumpsuit they are wearing, I feel it's a safe assumption. Regardless if it's Percival or not, the video does show the subject exhibiting strange behavior. On their first appearance, they frantically run their way towards the workstation on the wall. They hurriedly swipe what appears to be their employee ID on the terminal key and fail to unlock the main terminal. They attempt again and succeed in unlocking and thereby powering on the main terminal, and then begin to furiously type on the workstation, all the while muttering and cursing to themselves. Frustratingly, the camera was unable to record what the subject was typing due to its angle. Furthermore, due to the disabling of the keylogger, what the subject was typing is completely lost to our investigation. Before I continue with the video, I would feel remiss if I didn't include a physical description of our subject. For posterity's sake, the subject is a moderately tall individual, about 170 centimeters tall if I had to make an estimate, fairly gaunt with short arms and long legs. He has gray eyes and his cheeks are covered in freckles. He has a large chrome port on either the C1 or C2 vertebrae. The video is slightly grainy, so it makes it hard to judge exact port placement. Regardless, this port is more than likely where his Fabrique matrix resided. His face exhibits clear signs of stress, very prominent dark circles are visible underneath his eyes, and the furrow in his brow is incredibly pronounced. I believe that is an adequate description of the subject. I will resume playback. That must have been a coincidence. There has to be another Percy. I mean, my dad did say I was named after one of his famous colleagues. Maybe that's it. I don't know. That felt personal. I haven't done anything to deserve that level of vitriol, right? No. Not again. Not again! The passage, it's gone! It changed again! Why are you doing this? Why are you changing your words?
Percy, what are you doing in deep storage this late?
Oh, hello, Captain? Auditor's note. And there we have it. Confirmation that our subject in the video is indeed Percival. What's even better is that we have visual on the captain, Elsie. Normally I would not provide a physical description of a current employee as their company datasheet has all of that information and more. However, due to the blackout, most employee datasheets were completely deleted, and unfortunately, the Catabasis crude's data was included in that deletion. Of course, the company has been hard at work restoring our employee database, so it may be possible to access Elsie's datasheet in the future, but considering that we employ roughly 3 billion individuals, it makes sense that Elsie's file hasn't made its way back into circulation. All this to say, I will be indeed providing a brief description of Elsie. If her personal file is relogged, please skip to 1536 to avoid redundant information. Elsie has a medium build. I would estimate she is about 160 centimeters tall. She's muscular, well-built, and cuts an altogether inspiring figure. A regular Betty Ray or Alexander Dumas. She has black hair, cropped at the shoulder as is customary for captains, black irises, an iridia possibly, or perhaps an advanced psychopomp enhancement, and a crooked nose. She looks tired in this footage, like she hasn't slept for days. Despite that, she's still smiling. As for commentary, I will begin by stating that I believe this recording helps to confirm that Percival's delusions were worsening over time. In comparison to the first phantom transmissions that were initially framed as some sort of digital message in a bottle that was then later altered when it reached its recipient, this transmission is directly addressed to Percival. His statements regarding the vitriol of the message lead credence to my earlier theory that these delusions are some sort of self-flagellation ritual, that they are hallucinations with the express purpose of making Percival guilty or inadequate, thus allowing him to sink deeper into a troubled headspace. Essentially, Percival created himself a perpetual positive feedback loop, where he receives cryptic and antagonistic messages. He feels worse, and then the messages feeding off of the negative emotion alter or change themselves to exacerbate that response. Hell, we see this happening in real time within the video. Percival gets scared and questions the message, and suddenly, like magic, the messages change, causing Percival even more distress. I'm interested to see how Elsie handles this situation. Resume playback. I'm just running some diagnostic tests on our redundancy protocols. Gotta have those redundancies in order, or else next time the life support malfunctions will all be thrust into deep space, and we don't want that now, do we? Anyways, I was just going, so I'll leave now. Goodbye.
Percy,
Yes, Captain?
what's wrong?
Nothing. I promise I'm good. I was just doing some routine maintenance checks.
I know you, Percy. Something is wrong. Tell me now so I can help. You remember that time you accidentally spelled decaf on Dad's holodeck?
Yeah.
And do you remember what happened?
Elsie, this is different.
I was there for you. I made sure that Dad understood it was an accident. I protected you. You're not going to get into trouble, Percy. I promise.
Well, I've been getting these strange transmissions.
Percy.
Look, I know what it sounds like, but I swear to you, they are real. I can prove it to you. I've got them saved right here on this workstation. You just have to check.
We've been over this, Percy. I've checked this workstation multiple times, and I found nothing. What makes this time any different?
I know you have Elle, but these messages are tricky. They hide in the recesses of our subnate, and then crawl out to harass me, and then when you or Linnaeus check, they disappear again.
That's impossible, Percy. You know as well as me that our file system doesn't work that way.
It does if someone has operator-level permissions.
I don't have time for this, Percy.
I swear to you, Elsie, this is real. You asked what was different this time, right? Well, I quarantined a file. It's a subnet only I can access. Even someone with administrator-level permissions couldn't barge their way through. Please, just take a look, and I promise that you'll understand.
Percy.
Just look at this.
There's nothing here.
No. Where the hell is it? Why is it gone? What did you do?
Percy! Calm yourself.
Sorry. It was right there, Elsie.
I know, Percy. I know. Percy, have you been taking your medicine?
What kind of question is that?
We both know how you
I'm not fucking crazy, Elsie. I need you to believe me here. I need you.
Percy, I love you, but you are ill. Please, go to bed and leave this be.
Elsie, please. This isn't like those other times. I promise you. I promise that this is real. I saw it. I have documentation and my personal log about it. Trust me, this isn't like when Mom...
Percival! As your captain, I am ordering you to cease all operations regarding workstation 4E4958. You are clearly ill. You need to go see Asclepius to get your head together soon as your shift ends tomorrow.
Elsie, please.
Employ 496361727573. This is an order. I will hear no more of these delusions. Go for the good of the ship and yourself.
Yes, Captain. File ends. Auditor's note. Apologies for my lack of commentary. If I was to be flattering to myself, I would say that I found it pertinent to allow the video to play out in full rather than segment it into bite-sized pieces to fully illustrate the scope of the situation and Elsie's ability to manage it. However, in keeping with the doctrine of the auditor, I must be fully honest and admit that I was quite enjoying the drama that this video provides. I rarely come across sources with so much personality in my work, and to have one fall into my lap in a case like this, it almost feels like I'm back in the Athenaeum. It feels perverse to admit, me taking enjoyment out of watching a mental breakdown, but I have to be honest. This is the most interesting source I have worked with thus far. An auditor's honor is in their disclosure, after all. As for analysis, I think this source largely supports our theories derived from RF-001. I already mentioned how it illustrates the phantom transmissions as guilt enhancers for Percival, but another element of major import was Elsie asking Percival about his medication. The evasiveness Percival exhibits, followed by Elsie's mandate of Percival seeing the onboard psychiatrist, is quite telling. It seems fairly clear to me now that Percival was neglecting his medicine. The only thing I cannot neatly fit into our existing narrative is Elsie's statement that she's viewed the workstation multiple times for her brother. In the survivors' statements, they were pretty emphatic that no one had checked Percival's workstation until the deep file scan on November 21st, which is obviously incongruent with Elsie's own words, and Percival's offhand mention of Linnaeus checking the workstation as well. Maybe Elsie was mistaken because of the traumatic nature of the crash, or maybe I missed something in the transcript of the interview. Speaking of Elsie, I believe the main takeaway from this document, besides the confirmation of our reading of the case, is her excellence as a captain. Based on her performance within the video, I can safely say that Elsie was a fairly competent captain, placed in an incredibly tenuous position, one that I do not envy. She had to balance not only her responsibilities to the ship, but her familial obligations. Despite that, she followed her role as captain and strictly adhered to company guidelines. She initially approached the situation with empathy, by fully listening to her crewmen's concern, and when that concern turned out to be unfounded, she did not abandon her subordinate. Only when it was found that Percival was completely unreasonable did she reassert herself as a commander and issue orders. Elsie's performance almost feels like I'm watching an employee-manager training video. I witnessed a masterclass in employee management and productivity, and I fully believe that her promotion after the crash was well-deserved. It is getting late, so I'm going to call an end to this examination. I will continue with the other two uncovered files as soon as I possibly can. End log.